dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good evening, I'm Macy Marie. President Trump announced Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen is being replaced. It happened late today after President Trump met with Nielsen at the White House. Errol Barnett is there and has the latest.
In her resignation letter, Secretary Nielsen wrote she had, quote, worked tirelessly to advance the goals and missions of the department, adding that now is the right time for her to step aside. Nielsen was next to President Trump in Calexico, California, Friday, as the president highlighted 2 miles of newly renovated fence.
Our system's full. Our country is full. Can't come in. Our country is full.
On Saturday, the president repeated his claims that the immigration system is overloaded and recently threatened to shut down the asylum process altogether.
We face a crisis, a real, serious, and sustained crisis at our borders.
In her 16 months as head of the Department of Homeland Security, Nielsen has found herself between a president adamant for dramatic change and a Congress eager for oversight.
It's totally unacceptable.
In March, Secretary Nielsen was grilled in front of the House Homeland Security Committee for the perceived poor treatment of migrants.
And as a member of this committee, you're darn right I'm going to hold you accountable for knowing what's happening at the bottom.
Now, Nielsen had been in many ways the face of the Trump administration's efforts to curb illegal immigration, which has included child separations. In announcing her departure Sunday, President Trump thanked Nielsen for her service and said Kevin McAleenan, the Commissioner for Customs and Border Protection, now becomes acting Secretary of DHS. Errol Barnett, CBS News, the White House.
In her resignation letter to President Trump, Nielsen wrote she hopes her successor will have the support of Congress in the courts in fixing the laws which have impeded our ability to fully secure America's borders. The 2020 presidential election is over a year and a half away, but presidential hopefuls are already vying 24/7 for that job. And it was a busy weekend with campaign events across the country. Melissa Rainey has a closer look.
I also want to say hello to President Trump.
Senator Bernie Sanders.
Good morning. It is so good to be here.
Cory Booker.
Iowa, how are we doing?
Beto O'Rourke.
All right, whoa.
And South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, all on the campaign trail working to drum up support for their 2020 White House bids. The list of Democratic presidential candidates is long, with each doing their best to stand out, hitting on issues like health care and immigration.
If we are this democracy, which we purport to be, it is on every single one of us. For as long as this persists, it is our responsibility. So not only must we never again separate another child from another mother or father who has brought them here, we must reunite every single one of them who has been separated.
President Trump also making an appearance over the weekend, speaking to the Republican Jewish Coalition in Las Vegas, where the commander-in-chief compared asylum seekers to UFC fighters and alleged people are coached through the asylum process by lawyers.
And the asylum program is a scam. Some of the roughest people you've ever seen. People that look like they should be fighting for the UFC. They read a little page given by lawyers that are all over the place. You know, lawyers. They tell them what to say.
Trump also reiterated remarks from a Friday event saying, our country's full. I'm Melissa Rainey reporting.
And we're finally seeing a break in those showers and storms that we saw a little bit earlier, but they're going to come back in a little bit later as we head into your Monday. You'll notice here as we look at some of our weather cameras into downtown Whitesburg, we're looking very calm over there, not dealing with much. Interstate 64 along Moorhead, you also notice those clouds starting to clear a little bit earlier this evening, but we are mostly dealing with those mostly cloudy skies throughout the overnight hours. Most of those showers have gotten out of here. Like I said, we'll see those mostly to partly cloudy cloudy skies. Scanning the skies now, we are looking at a clean sweep, maybe a few showers up into the Charleston area. Temperatures, they're still pretty comfortable out there, anywhere from those low to mid 60s. Some spots already dropping into those 50s, looking over into Somerset and Monticello. Now, as we head into tomorrow, it's going to be a pretty soggy day as that cold front moves through. Sunshine does return pretty quickly, though, after your Monday. And the good news is as we head into the new work week, that warming trend also continues. We'll break down that full forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. A popular fast food option in eastern Kentucky was destroyed this morning. The McDonald's in Manchester caught fire and burned to the ground. Officials with the city say this was a very popular restaurant in town and employed many of the people there.
It's a big loss. I'd say they had 30 or 40 employees in McDonald's there, but the owner said he would take care of them, work them in other places till they got built back.
Officials do say they talked with the owner of this McDonald's, who says they will rebuild in the next several months. We also have a statement from the owner on our website, WYMT.com. The water issues in Martin County inspired people on the other side of the state to help. Starting at 1 p.m., Teamsters local union 783 from Louisville distributed more than 24,000 bottles of water today. Their 18-wheelers set up in the parking lot of the Inez IGA. Teamsters and community members helped load the cases of water into cars. Organization President John Stovall says they heard about Martin County's water woes and wanted to find a way to help.
We're proud to help and honored, and we've seen they had a need, and we wanted to be a part of it and do what little we could do to help them make it a little bit better each day.
And if you missed the drive, multiple churches took cases of water for a later distribution. Letcher County Sheriff says Thornton Cemetery was vandalized. Deputies do not know when the cemetery was vandalized, but said they were made aware of it this weekend. Several headstones were knocked over there, and at this time, no arrests have been made. Kentucky State Police are investigating, and anyone with information is asked to call them at KSP Post 13. Officers with the Middlesboro Police Department say 2 men stole side-by-side ATVs and other merchandise from Shake and Bake Motorsports on Saturday. The pair also damaged several other ATVs. Using some security footage, officers were able to identify the 2 men. They found Jacoby Zachary with one of the ATVs, and on Sunday, police found the second person, who's under the age of 18. The 2 are charged with unlawful taking. A fire truck and a pickup truck collided in Phoenix, Arizona Sunday morning, killing 3 people in the truck and sending 2 more to the hospital. A 6-month-old also was one of the people who died up on its side, and the pickup had front end damage. Police say the fire truck was on its way to a fire nearby at the time of the crash and had its lights and sirens on. The 3 injured firefighters were taken to a hospital in critical condition, but by Sunday afternoon they were stable. In the pickup, a man was pronounced dead at the scene, and a woman and the baby died at the hospital. A California woman who was abducted on a safari in a national park in Uganda has been rescued, along with her driver, in the bordering Democratic Republic of Congo. Kimberly Sue Endicott and her driver, Jean-Paul Mergine Remizo, across the border in the Democratic Republic of Congo is where they were found. The tour group, Wild Frontiers, paid an undisclosed amount to secure their release. Earlier in the week, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said paying ransom violates American policy.
Please remember that any payment to a terrorist or a terrorist regime gives money so that they can seize more of our people.
Hundreds of thousands of tourists visit Uganda's 10 national parks every year. Uganda officials say after the ordeal, Endicott returned to the park to stay in a lodge. Groups of migrants of various nationalities, including Cubans and Afghans, could be seen using makeshift rafts to cross the river at Mexico's border with Guatemala on Sunday. The migrants then made their way to the city of Tapachula, where Mexico's National Immigration Institute has an office and where other migrants have been camped out awaiting documents that will allow them to remain in and travel through the country. Dozens of neglected animals were taken away from a ramshackle Gaza zoo on Sunday in the 4th and largest such rescue mission in the blockaded Palestinian enclave. Vets and volunteers from Four Paws International transported some 40 animals into Israel from the neglected zoo in the southern town of Rafah. The animals, including lions, foxes, monkeys, pelicans, wolves, and ostriches, will be resettled in sanctuaries in Jordan and in South Africa. And still to come at 11, nearly 300 undocumented workers, many of them women, were arrested at a technology company outside of Dallas. Plus, in Texas, storms damaged several areas. Weather spotters say they found a tornado in one spot.
And a cold front will move in tomorrow and bring more showers into the mountains. We'll break down that full forecast in just a few minutes.